Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I am going to discuss Pandas for the data analysis. So this is a very famous library of Python for the data analysis purpose. So what usually we do in data analysis is we connect to the source, then we perform the data cleaning, data transformation operations. And once your data is ready for the analysis purpose, obviously we will go ahead to visualize the data, right? So this is what we have to do in this entire Pandas series. And now question is how to start with Pandas. The way you write Python, obviously, if you have installed the Python on your system, if you open the command prompt and if you type here as a Python, so it will return the version which is installed on your system. Okay, once this is installed, this is what one you have. So what you can do, you can install the Pandas library. So name itself is Pandas, and if I run this, okay, so okay, I'm under the Python shell. So I will let me come out of this. I will say exit. Okay, if I say exit, so this is a method that I need to use, okay, to come out of this Python shell. Now we know that we have installed the Python. So what we can do, we can run this command pip install pandas. Okay, so this will install the library for you. Okay, and obviously if you have already installed, so you will get the message like requirement already satisfied. Okay, then if you want to upgrade the pip, you can copy this command and paste here, and then if you run this, it will try to upgrade your pip. Okay, so once you install the library, what you can do, you can open any text editor and start writing the code. That is fine. But here in this tutorial, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the Anaconda, meaning the Jupyter notebook. So this tool, Anaconda tool itself has installed everything. It has Python, it has all the data analysis related library already installed. So what we need to do is we need to simply come and say download here. Once you download, okay, if you say download, it will start the downloading file, which is almost around 1 GB. And I don't want to download because I already have installed. And once you download, once you finish the download, so what you can do, you can simply go to the download folder and install, double click on that file and it will start installing. Okay, then after the installation, you need to come to the Windows and search for the Jupyter notebook. Okay, this is what we are going to use for the Pandas practice. So what is the benefit of Jupyter notebook over the our normal text editor? So if you run any specific line of code in normal text editor, that will create some variables, and that variables will remains until the execution is in progress. Once the execution finished, that variables will be disallocated. And in case of this Jupyter notebook, this is not going to happen. So that's why this is a good choice to perform. Once you open the Jupyter notebook, what you can do, you can simply come to this new, and here you can select the Python IPy kernel. Okay, so if you select this, it will open the one file for you, and here you can start writing the Panda. Okay, so what you can do, you can even if you want to make sure, or if you are getting the error as a no Pandas installed kind of error, so in that case, what you can do is simply you can install the libraries from here also. So but you need to use this exclamatory mark first, then pip, and the command itself is remain same, and from here also you will be able to execute or install the libraries. Okay, so if I run this, it will take some time, and then it will give me the message that the requirement is already satisfied. But this is the way you can install the Python libraries in Jupyter Notebook. Okay. So now here you can see that this is what this square box is itself is called cell, and you can write the n number of lines of codes in the cell. And the beautification is that if I write x is equal to 10, okay, if I assign x here in this cell, and now I'm not going to execute, meaning that this will be remains in a memory until I close this file, and that is what is very helpful while practicing the pandas. So if I use x here in the next cell after some time, even after the number of times, so I don't need to execute the all the cells. Okay, the whatever the variables, whatever the functions we have executed, and what is the data we stored in the memory, that will remains stored until we close this file. And that is what the beautification of this Jupyter Notebook. And yes, obviously this is very helpful for practicing the Python and pandas. Okay, so if I want to delete any specific cells, here there is an option to cut selected. Okay, and then I will say cut selected. I don't want to keep anything. Then if you want to add new cell, you can insert the cells here by clicking on the plus. If you want to save this file, you can save the file. If you want to rename the file, you can rename the file as pandas, or I will say practice pandas. So this is what my file name. Okay, fine. Then if you select the multiple cells, okay, and if you want to copy that, okay, you cannot, I think you cannot select multiple, but if you click any specific cell and if you want to copy that cell, you can copy the cell from here. Then paste cell below. Okay, you will be able to paste. So cut is the option here, meaning the removing the cells. Then copy, paste, then move and up and down. Okay, so this is what you can do, meaning the selection you can go through this. Then you can run the selected cells. So if I select this and if I run this, so it will run the code from that cell. Okay, then sometime we may stuck, our system may not respond for the any execution. So what we can do, we can use this square button to interrupt the kernel. We can stop the kernel and then we can rerun. So here it is the option to restart, but it will just restart. It is not going to run all the cells. If you want to execute all the cells once again, what I can do, I can simply come and I will say restart and run all cells. Okay, so this double arrow I will use. It will restart the kernel and it will execute all the cell code from all the cells. Okay, so this is how the Jupyter Notebook heading works. And then if you want to make a note of something, let's say this is what the heading, or instead of that I will say pandas. Okay, and this is not a code, so I can say this is as a markdown. Okay, and if I run this, so this will be in this way. If I say raw NB heading, if I run this, so it will be in this way. Okay, and if I say, if I make this as a heading, so it will be in this way. It will looks like this. So you can add heading also to this. And if you want to, okay, do a specific task. So here commands are given, but change cell to heading 1, heading 2, heading 2. So we have 6 headings. Heading 1 is the largest. So this is how we have options. But yes, I don't want to do this. Okay, I will cut this and I will start writing. Once you install, obviously, once you install the Pandas library, how to start working on that, so is the main thing. So to work with the pandas, what you can do, you can import pandas. Okay, so pandas, you have, once you write this line, this will make sure that you are using the pandas library. So why we are using the library? Because that library has already returns lots of functions that we have to use directly to perform the data transformation. That is what we are looking for, right? So we need to install. If you want to add alias, you can add alias also. So instead of using pandas every time, you can use PD. You can use PD. And if I run this, okay, so if I run this, so now pandas is imported. And if I say PD dot Okay, even if I press the tab button, so you can see that these are the methods under the Panda class. So data frame I can create, date range I can create, data offset, and lots of things are there that we can do. So we will see one by one how we can, meaning we will explore everything with respect to data transformation and all. So this is what my first line of code. Then you may need to use this library also, the numpy library, okay, to create the data sets and to generate the array, to generate the set of data. So this library is very helpful. So what we will do, we will keep this imported in our code. So it may be helpful if we need in future. Okay. So now let me come back to the topic is Pandas. Okay. So what is Pandas? So Pandas is a data analysis library in Python, and it is a open source, meaning you don't need to pay anything. Even you can add your codes also, and it is used for the data manipulation and analysis. Data analysis. It provide easy to use the data structures. Okay, so Python has different data structures and Pandas has different data structures. Okay, why this? So we will get to know very soon. Okay, and it also provides the functions for the data manipulation and analyze the data structures very easily. So Pandas has two different types of data structure. First one is a series. So what is a series? So Pandas. So Python has list. List is equal to, okay. So we can, if you know Python, obviously you can understand this. Otherwise, you need to go through the Python first. So this is what the numerical list. This is what numerical list. List of items. Okay. So I have taken list of numbers, but you can have the list of dates, list of anything. Okay, list of text. So it's completely depends what kind of data you have, but yeah, I have a list. Okay, so this is the data structures. Okay, so if I make this as a hash and I will say this is a list, and I will say Python list. Similarly, in case of Pandas, we have same kind of things, but that is named as a series. Okay, so Pandas has its own data structure. So I will say Pandas dot series. Okay, let me press the tab button. If you press the tab button, so these options will be enabled for you. And here series capital S should be there. And what you can do, you can simply pass list here, list of items. So this. Now if I check the type of, okay, so if I say type of, okay, I will say print. I'm using the print function. Okay, type of L here. If I run this, you can see that it is of type list. But if I run this, okay, so if I say print type of yes, so you can see pandas core.series. So series is a data structure. Python list is represented as a series in pandas. And that's it. It's a list of item. That is nothing but series. And we can have the tabular data. But in case of Python, okay, what we can do in case of Python, we can have a tabular data in the form of nested list or a list, meaning the tuples inside a list kind of things. So how we can represent the tabular data in case of normal Python and in pandas, that we will see. Okay, so if I come here, so this is what my name. Okay, this is what my name. Before that I will add a roll number. Okay, just roll number, name, and just one I will add a column as a marks. Okay. Okay. Then here I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is what my data set. Then if I say A, B, C, D, E, okay, and later on I will use rand between function 50 to 80. Okay, So this is the range of marks that student got, right? So this is the data structure, meaning this is one of the table. And if you want to represent this in case of Python, so how we will be able to do? So for each row, what we will do? We will create one tuple or one list. Okay. So I will represent that here as a L is equal to outer list is surrounding for the table. Inner list is going to represent for the each row, including headers. Okay. So roll number, name, and then last is marks. Okay. This is what the meaning. Okay, the first row is completed. I will add the comma, and then next list item, or here you can add round brackets also for the tuples. Okay, and what I will do, I will copy this and I will paste this here. Okay, this is not going to work at all. So instead of that, 1 A and 74, right? So this is what the marks. So this is the first row. I'm not going to add all 5 rows. I will add one more row. And then next row, again, comma, and then next item. So I will say this is a 2, this is B, and this is 58, right? So this is how we can have the tabular data in the form of list in case of Excel, or in the form of tuples. That is what fine. But if you want to use this, meaning this is a table, this is a representation of table. So table is represented in Pandas as a data frame. So I'm using DF is a short form for the data frame, and I will say pandas dot data frame, and here you can pass the list. Okay, and if I come here, if I run this, so you can see that this is how the pandas will structure the data. If you pass the nested list, that is actually a representation of table that I did in front of you, and obviously pandas will read those things as a table in the form of data frame. So there are two data structures in case of pandas that what we have seen. First one is a series. So series is a one-dimensional array. So forget this. What is mean by one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array? So one-dimensional array capable of holding any type of data. So obviously the way Python list can hold any type of data, your series can hold any type of data in the list. And it is like a column in a spreadsheet or a single column in a SQL table, right? And what is the data frame? So data frame is two-dimensional. That's why I said this is a tabular representation of data. Data frame is used with the rows and columns, and it is like a spreadsheet or SQL table. So data frame can be created by reading the data set from spreadsheet or table. Okay, so what we can do, we can read the data from various sources, as I said. So every time it's not like that. Okay, if you have the list of, or you have a bigger table in Excel, or if your data is sitting in somewhere in the database, and you need to read the data, or you need to write the data like this. Okay, this is just a representation to understand how it works or what is the difference. So let's say data frame is nothing but nested list in Python, and series is nothing but list in a Python. Okay, so these are the two data structures mainly used in pandas to work around. And obviously whatever the data transformation you can do, if you are familiar with the query editor, whatever you can do in the query editor, you can do here itself. And with respect to date, with respect to text column, meaning text type data, we can perform lots of kinds of operations. Okay, so next is what we can do using the pandas. So obviously we can handle the missing data. Okay, if your data don't have the values, meaning any cell, or if your data frame do not hold any value for any specific cell in any specific column, so what we can do, we can handle that. We can ignore, we can replace the value. So that's kind of operations obviously we will go and we will perform. Then we can add new columns, we can delete the columns. This is what the column transformation. Similarly, we can do with the row also. And pandas has very robust IO tools. IO meaning input output tools for loading the data from flat files. So we can read the data from various types of files. Even we can save the data in the different types of various types of formats. So obviously we will see what we can do, what we even not only the CSV and Excel files, database, and even you can read the HDFS files also, Hadoop distributed file system. Even you can read in the Pandas. Then what you can do, you can group the data. So group by functionality is there to split, apply, and combine operation on the data sets for both aggregation and transforming the data. Then slicing we can do, indexing we can do, subsetting of the larger data set we can do. Then we can perform the merge operation the way we can perform the joins in SQL. Similarly, you can perform here merge and joins of the data sets. And then reshaping, you can transfer the data, you can unpure the data, you can pure the data. So these are the kind of operations you can do. Then hierarchical labeling of access we can do. Then time series functionality, date range generation and frequency conversion, then moving window statistic and date shifting and lagging. So these are the few examples. Even more than this, we can perform by using Pandas. Okay. So now we will see what and all the files, or what are all different types of files we can read, what are all different files we can save from using the Pandas. Okay, so what I will do, I will say here we have to read the data from various files. We have function name itself is read CSV, read Excel, read JSON, HTML, XML, HDFS, okay, ORC optimized row columnar format. We can read the packet bin. These all are HDF. So what is this? So HDF, ORC, these are the file formats used in a big data. Big data engineers will work on this. They will generate these kinds of files. So we will be able to read the files, that kind of files also directly in the Pandas. Okay. Then later, let's say read SQL. If you want to read the data from SQL directly, you can read. Otherwise, we have workaround for this also. Then Google, we can connect to the Google BigQueries directly also from the Pandas. So this is about the reading. Okay, this is not sufficient. If you go to the official documentation, so there is lots. So if I say pandas py.org, this is a official documentation site, and if I come to the user guide. Okay, so here you can see that IO tools. So these are the types of files. Okay, MS, Excel, and meaning this is a format type, text file or a binary file. So binary files, even you can read SQL, you can Python pickle format. So you can use here also, right? And these many types of formats we can use in Pandas to read the data. Similarly, we can write the data in CSV format. We can write the data in JSON format, HTML format. Okay, so these are the functions that you have to use directly. Okay, let's say what I did, I have created one data frame in front of you, right? This is what the data frame. I'm meaning manually I typed this data, but let's say I wanted to save this data in Excel. Okay, so what I can do, I can use df dot to Excel. This is what my function. Okay, and if you want to make sure that function, whatever the function you are using is correct, so if you write df dot, press the tab button, and you will be able to. So already I completed this function. So here you can see that two and underscore, and then if I say Excel, so this is what the function it will prompt. And then if you press the shift tab here, so you will be able to see the signature meaning how the function is work and what are all different parameter it writes. So it is using Excel writer. You need to pass the sheet name, and then path you need to pass. So I will pass the path here. Okay, so I would like to save this file in my download folder. So if I come to the download, and okay, this is not a download, I need to pick the, okay, this is what my, okay, and if I come here, okay, this is not going to work for me. I need to go to the download folder from a different way, and let me pick, okay, C colon users. Okay, so this is not giving me the path, complete path. So if I come to the C, then users, then username, and then if I come to the download here, okay, this is what the download folder, and if I pick this path, so I will use this path to save the file. Okay, this is the folder path, and then you need to say demo dot XLSX. So obviously we are exporting this data in the form of Excel. If I run this, okay, it says unique code space code can't decode bytes in position 2, 3. Okay, so let me read this. Okay, so we need to pass the sheet name here as a sheet 1. Ideally, we don't need to do this much. Okay, so let me remove this. There may be an issue with the path. So if I run this, and then again if I run this, okay, so this got saved. Okay, so if I save the file from Pandas, so where it will go, so it will come here. And here you can see that a second ago this file got saved. Okay, in this folder, so I will go to this folder. Okay, even if I open this file, not this, this is encoded. Let's say this is, we cannot open this file from here. If I go to the Anaconda 3 contact documentation, meaning this is under the different type of folders. So I will come and let's say user, okay, users, and then Bramby. I think here that file got saved. Okay, so you can see that 216.925 sometime before. Right? Okay, if I close this, so 9:25 a.m. Now it's 9:26 a.m. So this file got saved 1 minute before, and if I open this, you will be able to see that what data it has. So it has this kind of data. Right, this is what I manually typed. I don't want this to be open. Okay, so it will copy the index, so we can remove that. So obviously later we will see how we can remove that. Let's say you don't want to pass this index. So what you can do, you can simply make the changes to your code, and you can let me close this file, and then if I pass, okay, so here you will be able to see that list of parameters that index is false. If I make this as a false, and if I run this again, if I come, the file got saved. Okay, then this is not, I don't want to change. I was using tiles, not tiles, then details. Yes, so this is what my folder. So this file is not saved now. Okay, so kernel is not running. So let me restart the kernel, or let me run this. Okay, there is an issue with this kernel, and this happens possibly. Okay, if I run this, if I restarting the kernel, okay, and now if I run the file, if I come here, you can see that that file should get replaced here. Okay, so this is not getting replaced. I might need to restart. Okay, let me delete that file, and then if I try to run, ideally this should not happen. Automatically this will overwrite. Okay, there is an issue with kernel. I might be need to connecting to the kernel and not connected. Okay, the problem is with this kernel. Let me close this, and then if I open the Jupyter notebook once again. Okay, I think I closed this. That's the reason I thought, right. We should not close this window, okay, while working with the Jupyter notebook, and I made that mistake sometime before. So practice pandas is the file we were working. That's why it was throwing error, that, and I was unable to run the file. If I run this, okay, name and data frame is not running. If I restart everything and run the cells once again, so you will be able to see that the file got saved now. Where is the demo? Let's say, okay, demo 929, right? This moment. And if I made index as a false, okay, still I think that changes are not saved, right? Here, I will say index as a false. Index as a false. If I run this and if I open this file now, this got saved. Okay, so row indexes are removed. We can similarly ignore the column indexes. And but how to ignore column indexes? So if you want to ignore column indexes, what you can do, you can see if I open this signature here, you will be able to, you can set the sheet name also, and float and index and headers, okay, columns. So headers are true if you make this as a true. So what will happen? So while reading the data, first column will be read as a header. Okay, let me try. And if I run this, okay, so now I think that didn't got saved. It is again, let me rerun everything. Okay, and okay, now file got saved once again. Okay, so there is a way to remove this. We can remove this. Okay, with headers, it is not, headers is equal to true. Okay, what is the default value? If default is true, then we need to make it false. And for headers, right? Headers, okay, default is true. Then what we need to say is we need to say false. Okay, so it's 31. Let me open. Okay, so now when I made the changes, headers is equal to true. So first row is considered as a header. Okay, this is how it works. So you need to explore the functions, each type of functions. Okay, that I'm showing with respect to Excel, but you can go and read this functions. What does this mean and how it works? So you will be able to save the data. Similarly, if you want to read the data from Excel file, what you can do, you can use df dot, I will say read Excel, okay, and okay, not df, obviously read Excel is not a data frame function, because once we have the data frame and we are going to save the data, we called this function on the data frame. But let's say if you want to read the data, so pandas itself has this function, so I will say read Excel, and here you can pass the input output. Okay, so I'm going to pass the name. Okay, let's see what pivot underscore student dot xlsx is the file name. So I will say pivot underscore student dot xlsx is the file name that I can read. So by default, it will read the sheet 1. Okay, and this is what the data, this is what the reading from the Excel sheet. So I will make this as a df1. Okay, and then if I say df1, you will be able to see the output. Okay, earlier I did not saved that data. So what you are doing here, I'm not reading the data directly. Okay, I'm reading the data and storing it into the df1. Then whenever I try to print the df1, then and then only I will be able to view the data. Right. So this is about the reading the data. If you want to save this data in the form of CSV, so what you can do, you can simply say to CSV. These are the functions. Okay, once you open the functions, and if you open the press the shift tab button, you will be able to open the signature of that function, and here you will get what you need to pass. So you need to pass the file path and then separator. Since this is the CSV, if you want to separate, the default is the CSV, meaning the comma is the separator. But let's say if you want to change this to different one, you will be able to make the changes, and you can explore all of these parameters, but not all the parameters are really helpful at this moment for the, at least for the starting. If you know these two parameters, path and then separator, that is even more sufficient if you want to do something with the columns, headers, index, and then you will be able to do that. Okay, so you can define the mode write only, or how it meaning works. So write and read if you use W, and if you use A, it will be append mode. So if your file is already there, so it will append the data to that file. So there are modes also, so you will be able to work with that. So just wanted to show you in this video that how you can read the data, and how we can read the data, write the data to the different types of file formats using Pandas. So this is about the Excels. Obviously, you can work with the CSV, then JSON file, HTML file, XML file, and even Hadoop files also. So here I will stop, but in my next series, I will discuss how we can read the data from SQL and how we can write the data to the .SQL file. So that is what our next purpose, and let's meet in the next video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.